everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Football Tailgaters podcast. We have Andy, who is our unbiased NFL fan. Myself, they call me Yams. I'm your Jet fan. Today we have a lot to talk about. A lot of football news has suddenly arisen. So let's go ahead and just dive into it. The first topic we're going to talk about today is finally Jalen Hurts got his $255 million extension with $179 million guaranteed. Is this a good signing?
Not to me, because he did take you to the Super Bowl, which, I mean, it's amazing. But if you take Jalen Hurts' strategy or the Eagles' plan strategy with him, if the defensive corners figure out that way, then it's going to be really hard to find out if Jalen Hurts can be another type of quarterback. It seems like this is the only way that they can be successful so far, but I could be wrong.
I definitely see your point that it might be eventually, figure him out. But I think he kind of deserved it. The way he performed in the Super Bowl was a great performance. Also, he made the best out of his career after what could have been a downhill after the Alabama championship. I think he got benched or hurt. So I think he does deserve it. Absolutely.
I mean, deserve is, yeah, of course. But as business-wise, if you're the Eagles trying to think of it as a long-term type of investment, I think it's a little early. But I will tell you this, kudos to the Philadelphia Eagles to pay Jalen Hurts right now because, as you know, Herbert and Burrow are around the corner to get paid. So they're going to get paid higher. So it might be a smart decision move for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think it's a great move also as a business aspect to get him under contract now because who knows what's the cost of quarterbacks 2-4 years from now when he wants that contract. So yeah, everyone's asking for a ginormous amount of money that ends up hurting your cap space and basically your team's doomed. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next person on our list here that's asking for a contract, just hasn't been able to get it done. So there was a report out there that Lamar Jackson supposedly turned down a $2 million offer from the Ravens.
$200 million.
$200 million. What are your thoughts?
Poor Lamar, he actually needs somebody to yell at him saying, take the money, bro. We just saw Jalen Hurts get a $179 million guaranteed contract, and he went to the Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson's been injured every single year almost and haven't even smelled the Super Bowl. So somebody needs to put some sense into him and actually sign this contract.
Yeah, let's just assume that this is true. If Lamar actually did turn this deal down, I think he's full-blown delusional. He needs someone to help him, to guide him. I wonder if there's a possible situation where maybe Lamar Jackson has misunderstood the details when he turned this down.
No.
If so,
he didn't.
If so, then I think having an agent would prove to be a big deal in this case, to help him out. Because you just said, why is he turning it down?
Well, if it's true that this is the contract that they were offering him, I would have think that this is a huge win for Lamar and his mom as his representative. $200 million guaranteed. I'm really surprised that he didn't take it. I don't know how much he thinks he's worth. I don't know who's telling him that he's worth even more than that. The Browns, yeah, they messed up with Deshaun Watson, in my opinion. Nobody's going to give that much amount to a quarterback. And we are seeing that so far happening. I mean, if Burrow gets that amount, like higher than Watson, then of course he deserves it. He went to the Super Bowl and he almost got there. So Burrow is a better talent than Lamar, but nobody's like bringing Lamar Jackson back to earth and telling him how much he's worth.
So there's a report on CBSNews.com. The report is the Ravens offered Jackson a guaranteed $133 million at signing, $175 million if he got injured, and $200 million springing guarantee that he's on the roster on the 5th day of 2026, year 2026. So perhaps that might have been a motivation to decline.
Well, of
because
course. Yeah. No.
He knows that he's probably will be injured and will have to settle for something lower than what he's...
If that's the case, then yeah, of course he should be hesitant because of that injury clause that's there. Then he should turn it down. And that just shows you that just because in the media it just shows like a certain amount and everybody's just going to be lashing out because it's $200 million. I just did that and see. And now that you have more of the details, you can see that, yeah, he shouldn't accept that contract.
But even if he does accept it, is it that bad to accept something that if you are injured, you're still getting paid such a large amount?
Well,
That's pretty good.
this is football. You have a high chance for you to get injured, especially somebody like Lamar if he's always running around. So my thinking is there a certain amount of money that you should be accepting as an NFL quarterback that's enough money? Like 135 million, that's a lot of money, like for anybody. So if you can grow that money in so many different ways and investments. So I don't know. I do think that Lamar not accepting it that contract because of the injury clause was a good move.
Now, I know that the signing recently with Odell Beckham was one of the reasons Ravens did sign Odell Beckham. He had asked to bring Odell Beckham and was another wide receiver that doesn't come to my mind right now, but they said we can't afford both. There were like two top wide receivers and we can't afford both. So they went ahead and signed Odell Beckham. That was the deal so that he comes back to negotiation tables.
I mean, it helps a bit, but Lamar wants his money. I sign whoever you want. He wants his contract.
DeAndre Hopkins was the other request. So, I mean, those are two big-time receivers asking big-time contracts. That's not going to happen.
Actually, well, Hopkins, he actually even is hinting to take even less money. He just wants out of the Cardinals. He just wants out. But regardless, I don't believe that Lamar is just like requesting more. I mean, help in order for him to entice him to sign a contract. He just wants his money. He wants that big time payment.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to a new topic now that we're mentioning the Cardinals. There's a report that came out that Buddah Baker is requesting a trade. I guess everyone wants out of the Cardinals at this time. Are the Cardinals still that dysfunctional team?
I think so. Hopkins was out. The Buddah Baker wants out. And it seems like Kyler Murray still has issues. They got a head coach that it's going around media with a video that he's just kind of like a Michael Scott type of boss as I don't know, of his little jokes here and there. So it seems like it's a dysfunction team for like the last few years. They extended Cliff Kingsbury, then they let him go right away. And they extended Kyler Murray with a clause that he has to study. It's just not an organized team. It just gives you a bad taste in your mouth. Yeah,
their head coach, Gannon, I think that's his name. It gives me a lot of vibes of what Adam Gase was at one point to the Jets, a joke, a circus, just saying a whole bunch of weird things, and you just see a whole bunch of memes about it. So yeah, I agree with the whole head coaching staff. Also, the mess of the GM position was also kind of a mess earlier in the year. But it reported that Buddah Baker is requesting a trade or he was demanding to be the highest paid safety in the league. I don't know if he deserves that.
Well, he is a really good safety. I don't know if he deserves to be the highest paid. But for sure top 3. He should be paid top 3. He was a star in Hard Knocks for that defense, in my opinion.
I mean, I agree. I guess I have a sour taste in my mouth with the whole Jamal Adams taste.
Yeah.
Where he wanted also to be the top paid and all and yada yada.
And look how
it turned out. So, and he got injured. Correct me if I'm wrong. If Buddah Baker didn't get injured at some point in the season,
mm-hmm. Just like Jamal Adams.
So, I mean, kind of like Lamar Jackson situation. You got to look at it as a business standpoint of view. And to be the highest paid safety, you got to have, I don't know, stay healthy, I guess.
Yeah, well, I don't blame any of these players trying to get paid. I mean, this is their job. So there's just like, you're asking for a raise at work or a promotion or a bonus, something. I mean, you're working really hard and you get injured. I mean, it's kind of out of your control if you get injured, if you get hit in football. So I don't blame none of these players, but I do understand the business side that you do have a cap space amount that you have to be very careful with. Even though you're a big solid player, you might get a player that maybe is not as good as you, but is very fundamental to the team at that position that you don't need to pay big time money. It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard. Everyone deserves to get paid. Everyone wants their bonuses. I totally get it.
But let me say that what you compare to the coach, to Adam Gase, I think that's a little unfair because he is barely, this is his first chance of being a head coach in the NFL. And Adam Gase, we did see him with the Miami Dolphins. He did take him to the playoffs, but we kind of knew when going to the Jets that it wasn't going to work at all. And it was just crazy that they offered him a head coaching job. And this particular coach, I think we should give him a chance. Just because he sounds a little quirky and everything doesn't mean that he's going to be a horrible head coach. Let's see what happens this year. Let's see if he can control Kyler Murray and the team. We'll see how it even goes with this next draft. I mean, the GM stepped down. Now they have a new one. Maybe they're going to try to rebuild in some way. Who knows? Maybe they're going to draft Kyler Murray's replacement.
I just feel they hired him prematurely. He was a defensive coordinator for the Eagles in 2021. We're 2023 now, and they already give him a chance to be a head coach. And the Eagles barely just kind of exploded last year.
Well, they went to the playoffs the year prior.
And got eliminated, but that
right
team
away.
was horrendous, in my opinion.
Even so, they went to the playoffs.
Who doesn't make it to the playoffs if you're in the NFC East? This year, all three of them went, right? Well, maybe talk for another day, but I feel like that division is just so easy.
Okay, but just because that division is easy doesn't mean that they're all going to go to the playoffs. Look at the AFC South with the New Orleans Saints, the Atlanta Falcons, the Panthers, and the Buccaneers last year. They were all horrible, and I mean, the Buccaneers did go, and look how they just got destroyed in the first round.
No, I understand. I just feel like the NFC is just easier, less competition. It's
the NFC overall.
Yes, NFC. So I can't give the Eagles. I give them a lot of credit.
The Rams won the Super Bowl that year. NFC team.
All right, I stand corrected, I guess. So let's move on. So the next thing we'll talk about is the draft, and we have Bryce Young. Apparently, he's canceling team visits before the draft. I don't know if this is a smart idea. What do you think, Andy?
No, this actually makes me nervous. If you're a team trying to look if Bryce Young is somebody that you should draft, why are you hiding? Why are you canceling your visits? Are you maybe messing something up in your prior visits that we're not seeing? Maybe the workouts are not going well. Maybe the interviews are not going so well. And the agent just told them, like, hey, we just got to change the strategy because the draft is around the corner.
A good point. The only thing I would say what's going on is perhaps this is the smart move. Perhaps it is a smart move if he knows he's 110% for sure. Knows that the Panthers are drafting him at number 1. Otherwise, it's a stupid move. I would say it's a dumb move to close doors on other teams looking to draft you in the first round. So that's the only thing for me it makes sense. If you're canceling other team visits, that's because you know that Panthers already had that conversation with you. Hey, dude, we're drafting you number 1. Be ready. And I'm going to go ahead and close out the other opportunities because I know 110% that I'll be drafted number 1 by the Panthers.
Looking at NFL draft histories, there has been players that say, oh, this team said that they're going to draft me, and it doesn't turn out that way. The only times that I see that it does happen that way is when the team announces it. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars, they announced that they were going to get Trevor Lawrence. Also, the Indianapolis Colts, they advised that they were going to get Andrew Luck. And those picks were solidified. I believe also Cincinnati Bengals are saying they were going to take Burrow. So if the team doesn't announce it, then you shouldn't take just their word on it. And you're also maybe taking away the chance for another team. Who knows? What if a team falls in love with you and just wants to move all the way up to to draft you in the first overall pick? We don't know if the Panthers are going to select him. What if he falls to number 2 or number 3 and some other team wants to draft him?
Right.
So maybe you're missing an opportunity there.
Of course. I absolutely agree. That's the only reason why I would say it's only a smart move, which is 10% of it, is that 110% the Panthers are taking number 1, because then you're missing all the other opportunities. And of course, there might be other teams that might want to trade up for you and get you at 3 or get you at 2. You never know, right?
Well, yeah. And if we look at the draft histories as well, how many quarterbacks early in the first round do really well? I mean, let's look at the year with Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen, and Josh Allen. So from all of those, Josh Allen became the star. So
no, Lamar Jackson.
No, I'm taking the top 10.
Okay.
The top 10. Yeah, Lamar Jackson was lower.
The last one.
Right.
In the draft. In the first round.
Right. So, I mean, wouldn't you want a team to go up and try to get you? Look at Trey Lance's situation. Even though he hasn't played with the 49ers, but any NFL quarterback would love to be playing for that team because it's a ready team and you can have so much success there. It's all ready to go compared to other teams that are struggling in the top 10 and they're just trying to figure things out and try to get that quarterback thinking that they're going to go to the next level because they drafted you. So you would like a more prepared team to be able to draft you and you get to that high level.
Absolutely. If I were a player, if I were a quarterback, especially a quarterback, I would like to be developed. I actually picked up on a more developed team than being picked, and maybe it's the wrong word, but I guess the garbage team or the rebuilding team that's going to take years to fix, and you don't even know if you have the right pieces in place. You don't even know if you have the right coach for you. And you want to be more in a better situation. For example, Patrick Mahomes getting drafted by Andy Reid.
Right.
Number one head coach in the NFL. Kind of in a rebuilding team, but
it worked out.
But then you also have a player like Mac Jones who got drafted to Belichick also, and it's not sort of working out. So,
but at least you have the opportunity to play under one of the best coaches like ever in history.
I agree, and that's probably more of a dent on Mac Jones than it is for Bill Belichick. That means he's just not the quarterback.
I mean, there's a little strange things happening there with the Patriots, with the coordinators and putting a defensive coach as an offensive coordinator, and also Joe Judge, special teams helping out there. It's just a weird situation going on there. But
he might have taken a little break and like not really killing his brain and thinking that much. Like
Belichick. I really
I'm gonna just take a break and I'm gonna let these two bozos take care of it.
I really doubt
and
it.
Also, I just know Mac Jones is not the one. It's just whatever year. I'm moving on for him. I'm gonna go ahead and go start with Zappy.
He's super competitive.
Zappity Zap.
No, he's super competitive. I really, really doubted that he takes a break.
Is there anything else you want to add to the Bryce Young topic?
No, just good luck to him. I do think he might be the pick or the first overall pick for the Panthers.
I'm thinking that too.
It's been like word that it might be CJ Stroud.
I'm not thinking that anymore.
Yeah, because of the media and everybody's like hyping him up, but I do think that it's going to be Bryce Young. He's the most ready quarterback out of all of these guys, even though in the future one of these other quarterbacks is going to be better, just developing or whatnot because they have their skills. But ready quarterback could be Bryce Young. He played in Alabama under Nick Saban with NFL type of caliber players. He had success, so he's going to be able to have some success in the NFL as well. I
agree. I feel that the Panthers playing with the media, saying that they like it in Anthony Richardson, that Frank Wright, that's who he likes, but the organization's eyeing CJ Stroud, and then there's other reports that saying CJ Stroud is for sure the number one. And I think it's just them kind of playing with the media, maybe playing with the other teams. But I think at the end of the day, number one is going to go with they're going to go with Bryce Young, and that's probably why the reason is he's canceling team visits because he knows they're being picked. Let's hope that's in his case that he's right about that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to a team that's in the NFC East. Saquon Barkley has decided not to sign his franchise tag. Should he sign it?
I don't think he needs to sign it right away. For me, it's a stunt to not be in the voluntary programs or workouts just so he can still take his time. Now, here's the problem, though. If he gets injured while he's training by himself, then that means that he's not going to get paid whatever he signs on that franchise tender. So if he does go into these volunteer workouts and he gets injured there, then he does get paid because it's like an insurance policy that the tender has that he's going to get paid no matter what if he gets injured in the facilities. So he's got to be careful there.
I mean, eventually, yes, I do think he is going to sign it. If the Giants lose Barkley, let's just say he doesn't or something goes south, right? And bring in another back, they're just immediately worse off than they are. In my opinion, I would just pay him. He went through an injury and he was able to recover. I just don't have a lot of faith in Daniel Jones. And if he's being the franchise for the Giants, good luck.
Yeah, and they do have a really good head coach. But it's really hard for me to think that to pay a running back is going to just get you to that higher level. Even though Saquon Barkley is a tremendous talent, he's probably the best talent that they have in that offensive and the offensive side of the Giants. So I don't know if I just wouldn't like break the bank for him. But I would pay him though, because he, like you're saying, he has been producing. This last year, he was a big time help for that team and got him to that higher level. I'm with you with Danny Dimes. He's not doing those Danny Dimes that much, but he did show some promising, I don't know, abilities there with the head coach. No, I mean, he did. Yeah. He was better than the prior years. I'll tell you that. We'll see this year. This is another opportunity for him. So he's getting his opportunities. So it's a wait and see.
So Micah Parsons pointed out that most of the Giants' offense revolves around Barkley, and that they should pay him. And it's true. The offensive plays
because he's the
main guy. They need him. And again, this is probably why also Daniel Jones was good, because I wouldn't say good. I'm sorry. That's too much of a word. Okay. He was a good game manager. How about that? With Barkley next to him.
Unfortunately, this is how the NFL is for running backs. Look at Eckler. He wants to get paid, and he was a top running back performer in the NFL. Nobody's screaming to grab him and like demanding to trade for him, because running backs are a dime a dozen, unfortunately. And as long as you have a good offensive line, you can get like the productivity, maybe not as a high level as Saquon Barkley and Eckler, but you can get really high productivity, and you can be able to manage that money around and pay another offensive lineman or a defensive player here and there instead of just giving it to the running back. Look what happened with the Cowboys. They were handcuffed with Ezekiel Elliott because he had like 1 or 2 great years, and after that, he didn't produce. And now they have now since Zeke left, now they got another running back that is just Pollard is doing pretty well without that big contract. And they franchise tagged him too, and he signed it right away. And because he knows if he does get injured, he's not going to get that money from the franchise tag. So it's a risk.
It is a risk, and I just don't see him slowing down. I think in most cases.
How many years do you give him though?
Yeah, you're right. I give him 2 to 3 years.
3 years max, and that if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, but
if you're lucky.
Yeah, 2 years. 2 years is good.
There's very little Adrian Petersons out there that last a long time in this league as running backs.
Well, Derrick Henry's been lasting some time.
He has. That's a very good point. But look at Le'Veon Bell. They didn't last long. It's a big risk, and handcuffing yourself to that type of big contracts is just not good for the team overall.
It's not good for the team, I understand, but he did overcome an injury, and he played well. I mean, he played pretty good. And most running backs don't come back and play that well. Can you tell me if Zeke was able to get back to his highest level? No, and I feel like Saquon Barkley did.
Well, look at also McCaffrey. He also came back at a higher level as well. But again, I mean, I'm all for players to get paid, but just because it's just how it's the business is going on for the running backs is just not good business paying them. If I was the players union, I would try to fix in the next labor agreement to do a special type of contracts for running backs, because they don't last long. I believe the average years for a running back in the NFL is like 3 years.
Yeah.
So look, let me give you another example. When Cook went down for the Minnesota Vikings, Madison went in, and he did pretty well. So not as good as Cook, but they do produce.
Yeah, but they don't produce to the level that you want them to produce.
Zeke went down. Pollard produces.
But it wasn't enough.
Well, of course it's not enough because there's also other aspects to it, but they do produce what you want a running back to produce. That's my whole thing. Look at the Eagles. They're actually doing a really good job. They let go of their starter, Sanders, and he went to the Panthers, and they just have a dime a dozen of running backs because they understand that that's what you need to do at the running back position.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. We're going to stick with the NFC East. It looks like the Commanders things are moving. They are selling the team to a billionaire. His name is Josh Harris for $6 billion. I don't know about you. I don't know if this is a steep price to pay, but what do you think about the price?
It's a huge price. Last year, the Denver Broncos sold their team to the Walmart family for $4.65 million. Are you telling me that in 1 year, a team is worth more than $1 billion. I know the Washington Commanders do have a following, but I'm not too sure if $6 billion should be the price. They have a lot of dysfunction. I believe they were the worst rated team according to players, like in the training facilities, and the stadium is falling apart. We almost had Jalen Hurts almost get injured when the fans starting to fall down almost on top of him. I don't think they are worth $6 billion. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with you. They're probably not worth billion. But they do have a large following, and unfortunately, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Giants, that whole division, it's just really popular. So it might have been a good price. Denver is also a popular team, in my opinion, but I don't know, the levels of it. I feel like maybe Washington Commanders are much higher than the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, they have more fan base.
And it's a bigger fan base.
Yeah.
It's also Washington, D.C.
No, we're in Texas, and we do see here a lot of Washington Commanders fans.
Yeah, there's a ton of haters, right? Between Cowboys and Washington, Eagles. It's you see it everywhere.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of history. I mean, I still don't think that more than the $1 billion after 1 year, just like the Denver Broncos were purchased. I really don't think they're worth that much, but that's just how it works, I guess.
Well, I'm glad that this deal is getting pushed out of Dan Snyder. He was a mess. He had a lot of harassments, reports.
Right.
So, I mean, that's good. Let's, good riddance, bad owner, new owner. Let's bring him in.
He was giving a bad name to the NFL.
Yes. Let's just move on from this bad owner.
Right.
And not only Josh Harris, I know none of us I don't know who Josh Harris is, but we do know that it includes a Los Angeles Lakers icon, Magic Johnson. So he is part of the owner group. So we have Magic Johnson. We know him.
And is Magic Johnson, did he do a good job with the Lakers? I don't think so.
Is he part? Or, well, he was like a president or some sort of.
He was helping like a type of GM type of thing, I believe, and they pushed him out because he wasn't doing well at all.
Well, you know what? They get a second chance now, and whatever he wasn't able to achieve, now he.
I don't think he's even going to be involved at all with the NFL. No, this is not his sport. So it's just a pure business here.
Well, let's see what this new billionaire does with this team. Hopefully they make some changes to the stadium and things are not falling apart anymore.
Yeah. I'm really surprised that they haven't fixed that stadium. I've seen like pictures online that there's like huge cracks through the concrete. I know that when you go to NFL stadiums, it's mostly concrete, like that's holding all these stadium seats. And I don't know, it would make me pretty nervous that I see those huge cracks. I mean, if anybody's listening, like you can see like there's really big gaps around, and there's a lot of people that have complained about that stadium, and I just don't see how. I mean, nobody has inspected them, like for even hazard reasons.
For me, all stadiums are the same in the NFL.
All of them are the same.
Pretty much, it's all gray, cement everywhere.
Yeah, it's
not like colorful, beautiful places. I mean, maybe I have to be in the suites in order to see a different type of food. I mean, it's just typical popcorn, hot dogs.
Well,
it's a game,
It's a state. No, yeah, but I mean, there's stadiums from stadiums that have some nice. For example, let's compare since we're in Texas. We've been to the Texans stadium and we've been to the Cowboys stadium. I mean, there is a huge comparison there when you go inside. Yes, they're both concrete, but you can see that the Dallas Cowboys stadium has more like showings of art and it's just more cleaner. And in the Houston Texans, it's just a stadium. It's not a big, amazing type of stadium. Oh, another bad stadium in my opinion is the Glendale with the Arizona Cardinals. That's a bad stadium, honestly. It's old and it feels like a factory, in my opinion. We've been also to the MetLife Stadium, and that's a pretty good one. I enjoyed it.
So.
The Tampa stadium, that one was really nice as well.
I did like it because they have a ship there. It's like a statement.
Well, it's a more show.
It's a more show. And then the Cowboys that have that big jumbo screen, which is eye catching. And yeah, I agree. The Texans and the Cardinals, bleh, they both look like factories. It looks like you're walking into an Amazon fulfillment center.
I hope nobody gets offended by those by those statements, but
I'm sorry, not that I've been inside an Amazon fulfillment center, but if I were to imagine it, I feel like it's just, enough room to,
And let's just say that we enjoyed both our times in those two stadiums.
Obviously, I love football, so it doesn't really matter the cement or all that look. As long as the game is good, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next topic, and it seems it might be our last. We're kind of nearing the end here. All right, so looks like we have another Cardinal that's wanting out. Hopkins wants to be traded. He came on a video and he kind of body motion where he wanted to go, and it seems like he wants to go to either the Chiefs or the Bills. Which team fits best?
The Chiefs, 100%, without question. Tyreek Hill left, and we did see that it did hurt the team. Even though they won the Super Bowl without him, I mean, that kind of shuts me up a bit. But we did see him a little bit trying to struggle, trying to do that home run. And Hopkins is that type of player. He's an amazing talent. I don't even know why teams are not dying to trade for this guy. He's, for me, a top 3 wide receiver in the league. I mean, am I crazy? Am I wrong?
No. He would definitely, if he signs with the Chiefs, I can see them winning it again.
Yeah.
Obviously.
For sure.
And, I mean, the Bills, they have some work done. They need to do something. They need more help. They need a running back. Right. I don't know if they've already signed someone. I can't remember. And Naheem Hines is the last one that I remember that they signed. But in the offseason, did they sign anybody?
Not that I recall, no.
I don't recall one either. I think they were looking into maybe signing Derrick Henry, but they definitely need a running back before they even have a wide receiver. Stephon Diggs apparently kind of alluded to wanting to leave that team. Yeah. Bills, I just don't see them in the running for the Super Bowl next year. Sorry, Bills fans. I'm kind of disappointed that DeAndre Hopkins did not want to go to the Jets. Pretty disappointed. I do feel that the Jets are trying to make a run to the Super Bowl. You may disagree. I think they are. They're building the team to win the Super Bowl, and I feel like he could have.
They have to get Aaron Rodgers first.
We'll see We'll see what that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Big mess with that quarterback.
But imagine if you had Garrett Wilson and Hopkins with Rodgers. What a team.
What a team, right?
What a team.
This is not on the topic list, but there's reports that Zach Wilson is not showing up to, involuntary workouts. Yeah, he is not showing up. And I guess since last year, he's kind of ghosted. He's ghosted everybody. So who knows what he's feeling? I think he's probably wants to get out of this team. I don't know if he'll be in this team. They got Tim Boyle as the new backup. That means Zach Wilson's third quarterback on the team.
There was some reports, rumors, that the Jets were just done with Zach Wilson, that they didn't want to. They're moving on, but it could rely on for this year that's coming up that they're just needing to get somebody to replace him for this year, since he was a second overall pick. I don't think the Jets want to just diminish him that quickly and just try to work with him. Maybe Aaron Rodgers does help him a bit develop, and they're just crossing and hoping and praying that he actually does get to that level that they hope he can be. But it can come to a situation that they should just cut their losses, in my opinion, if you're the Jets, instead of just strangling this kid around. Now, in my opinion, he does have an attitude problem because he was just cocky in the beginning in his style of playing, just running around and not doing the easy reads. And when he went to the press conference and said, "No, it's not my fault. I don't let the team down," something happened after that press conference that just changed his personality, and he was just showing that he was the best guy there. He was always smiling in the press conferences after that. And he was trying to be a really good teammate, but I don't buy it. I think it was just fake smiles. I think inside him, he was pissed so that he was benched. So I don't know if you can fix it with him. He gives me kind of like Colin Cowherd says, that Baker Mayfield type of vibes, that type of attitude. So
Manziel. Manziel attitude?
Yeah, and Manziel type of attitude, yeah.
Perhaps. We do know he just bought a franchise crumble cookie, so at least...
Oh, he's coming from a family that knows how to do business, yeah. And it's all about he's going to be fine in the end. No financial problems or anything like that. It's just maybe the NFL wasn't for him, but I'm sure he'll get another chance. If it's not with the Jets, it's with another team. He is going to get another chance.
That's my fear. I just don't want to let go of another quarterback that should have coulda, woulda, shoulda type of thing. Geno Smith, it comes back and haunts me years later. Like, damn, again.
I understand that, but sometimes players need to move to have some success. Sometimes it just doesn't work where they're playing. We'll see with Jared Goff with Detroit this upcoming season. He got traded from the Rams, even though he did go to the Super Bowl, but the Rams just didn't think he was that good enough. And maybe with the Detroit Lions, he's going to be good.
I think he will.
But look at Sam Darnold too, though. I mean, he moved on to the Panthers, didn't do well, and now he's with the 49ers. So it's just jumping around. Look at Josh Rosen. He went through team to team to team to team and just didn't work out. It's just a risk. It is what it is.
It is a risk. So Texans are not drafting the quarterback. That's strange.
Well, let me give a little bit more insight of that. It seems that the Texans, there's some rumors that they might not be drafting a quarterback with their top pick in the draft. And in my opinion, it doesn't seem like a bad idea. They can get Jalen Carter, which is the best player, in my opinion, in this year's draft from Georgia, the defensive lineman. And then in the second round, they can actually draft Hooker from Tennessee. You can start building a team with Hooker, and you can have the best player from the draft. I don't see any issues with that at all. So they would actually steal the draft from me if that would be the case.
That is a good concept or path for them, but isn't Hooker, doesn't he have an ACL, torn ACL? He tore his ACL in the one of the games, Heisman or something.
Right, but I think he might be.
Well, either way,
he might be good for this next
sure.
year, or just little by little. Like you can even get another, I don't know, a veteran quarterback in the meantime. But you're building a team. DeMeco Ryan is the new head coach for the Texans, and he's coming from the 49ers as a defensive-minded head coach. So getting Carter as part of the draft, getting the best player, in my opinion, and the best defensive player, I mean, you're building that team. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good route. I just don't think that's going to happen. Do you think Will Levis is going to be drafted in the first round, or do you think he's going to fall to the second?
No, it's going to be in the first round.
The first round?
Yeah, the first round. He might not be top 10, but he's definitely going to be in the first round. He does have that arm strength talent, and for me, in my opinion, that he bulked up, that also is helping. I mean, it's very minimal, but he is a really good, talented player, and I'm sure he's gonna be drafted in the first round, no questions asked. And he might even surprise. He might be the surprise of the NFL draft for that particular day and be drafted top 10. Who knows?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Sleepers. Well, do you have anything else to add, Andy?
No, just the NFL draft is around the corner. I'm sure that there's going to be more topics coming up of the NFL draft. So I'm excited. This is a great time for the NFL. So we'll see. Yeah,
the off season is flying by, in my opinion. Since the draft's right around the corner. What is in beginning of May, so yeah, it's almost here. So I think that concludes our podcast. Thank you to those of you who stuck with us to the end. We appreciate all of you. Please follow us on our socials. Andy, can you please share our socials for us?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We would love to hear from you guys. It's under football_tailgaters or football tailgaters. And you should be able to see our picture there from our podcast. You can go into our website as well. And yeah, we would love to hear from you guys. Comment and give us your thoughts.
Comment and subscribe. Thank you, everyone.